Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Jesus, Joan, and Journal. I am excited to be here with you this morning. So come on in the room and let's have a conversation. I hope you are all doing well. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. This is your girl, Joan T. Randall. I am a speaker, author, publisher, realtor. Speaker, author, publisher, realtor, all the R at the end. And I'm excited to be here with you. Today is the second to last day of Jesus, Joan, and Journal for the summer. So we will be back. We won't be back until January of 2026, right? If God's willing, I'll be here again in January doing Jesus, Joan, and Journal in January, right? January next year will be the 7th year of me doing these series. So I don't know what January is going to look like. I don't know what I'm going to do as yet. I don't know the theme. Haven't chosen a word for 2026 because that's going to be later on. So I'm sure between now and then we'll come up with something, but just wanted you to know. So I am going to take a few minutes and I am going to go into our opening this morning with our intro. So grab your pen, grab your tea, grab your journal, and we'll be back in 44 seconds. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Drop your name in the chat so I can give you a proper hello. I just shared it to my group. So we should be good over there in Books to Business and Beyond. So today, as I said earlier this morning, that it is the second to last day of Jesus, Joan, and Journal for the summer series. And we are going to be talking about fruit that remains, the fruit that remains, right? And so this week, it's all about legacy as a lifestyle, right? This week is only 4 days. That's fine. And it's called legacy as a lifestyle. And give me 1 second. Let me grab my charger over here so I could charge my phone because it did not charge last night, but that's okay, right? This is live, so anything goes. Anything happens, anything goes. Legacy as a lifestyle. And so my scripture today is taken from John 15 and verse 16, and it says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last." I don't know about you, but that just gives me so much comfort, right? You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last. This is such a confirmation, right? That what we carry, the gifts and all the things that we carry inside are fruits, right? And the Bible also says you shall know them by their fruit, right? And our responsibility is to make sure, I'm trying to get my gloss off of here. Our responsibility is to make sure that what we have, we are nurturing it and stewarding it and being able to produce fruit that will impact those that we come in contact with. And if the Gospel of John is saying that Jesus said, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit that will last," that to me is just amazing. It speaks to purpose. it speaks to productivity, and it speaks to permanence, right? It speaks to purpose, it speaks to productivity, and it speaks to permanence. And permanence just means it will go on and on and on, right? Last a lifetime and after, right? My first point that I want to make this morning is don't just be busy, be fruitful. So often we tend to busy ourselves with things, right? Things that doesn't even align with our purpose. And we spend so much time being busy on things that are not productive, on things that are not purpose driven, on things that has no meaning to our lives whatsoever. But we busy ourselves with those things. And at the end of the day, it's empty, right? And I'll tell you, one of the things that we busy ourselves with all the time and most often comes up empty, most often comes up depressed, most often comes up anxious, most often comes back feeling like an imposter is social media. Social media is necessary for all of us that are in the marketplace, that does business in the marketplace. It is necessary. But sometimes we find ourselves scrolling and strolling and trolling and doing all the other things, right, on social media. And the next thing you know, you turn around and 2 hours is gone, 3 hours is gone, 4 hours is gone. And every waking moment that we get a chance of doing something outside of our normal duties, we find ourselves on social media, right? So don't be busy, be fruitful. Activity doesn't equal opportunity, but God didn't call you to do everything. He called you to do the things that will bear fruit. I mean, that's the most important thing. God didn't call you to do everything, right? He called you to do the things that bear fruit, to do the things that you can multiply, to do the things that you're able to replenish, to do the things that is going to impact others, whether it's you, your family, and others in your community. That is what he calls us to do. And whether it is business, whether it is ministry, or whether it is life, right? You have to evaluate what you're doing. I made a post a couple of days ago, and it says that a lot of us, right, we are so willing to help others. We're so open and so willing to help each other that we find ourselves being busy with other people's things, other people's initiative, other people's, business or ministry or whatever it is. And granted that we are supposed to be serving, we can serve to the point where we are putting what we are purposed to do, what we are positioned to do, what we are supposed to be doing to steward our gifts, putting it on the back burner just so we can serve somebody else's initiative. So you've got to evaluate yourself, right? Is this being productive? Is what I'm doing producing kingdom impact, or is it just draining my time? What am I working on right now? Where am I in my life today? What is it that I am working on? And is it producing kingdom impact, or is it just draining my time? Is it empty? Is it unproductive? Is it unnecessary? Is it just busy work, which is empty and has absolutely no weight? Right? So we've got to think about what we're doing, right? And making sure that it's not draining us, but it's actually producing kingdom impact. The declaration for this point that I want to make is I focus on what bears fruit, not just what fills my schedule, right? I'm going to say that I focus on what bears fruit and not just on what fills my schedule. Sometimes I was looking at my schedule this morning, and it has all different colors based on the different things that I do. Good morning, Elder. Nice to see you. It has all different colors, right? So for my real estate, everything in purple and green is for real estate, right? Purple means it's some kind of training. Green means it's either an open house or some making money kind of thing, right? On my Victorious You Press side, it's Yellow, most often it's yellow, right? Because it's the book publishing thing, right? On my boost pad side, it is blue. Good morning, Louis. On my boost pad side, it is blue. So, and then my ministry is a different shade. It's like an orange, right? And then when Joan wants to do her own thing, it's like a gold, right? So when I open my phone and I look at my schedule, there are all these colors, but I know what they all mean. I know if I see blue, I'm in boost pad mode. I know if I see, yellow, it's Victorious You Press mode. If I see purple or green, I know that it is my real estate business. If I see gold, I know it's Joan's thing. And if I see this orangish, I know it's ministry. So when I look at my schedule and I open my phone and I look at my schedule, it's all these colors. And this morning I was up early and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this thing has absolutely no space. There's no space on it. It's like crazy ridiculous. And I'm going to try to see if I could show you what August looks like. I mean, I don't know if you're even going to believe me, but this is my calendar, guys. This is that's August. That is August, right? And if I scroll over, this is September. And then I go, that's October, right? November, December, 2026, January, right? But I was looking at it this morning. I just wanted to show it to you because I do a lot of schedule blocking, like 2-hour blocks and 4-hour blocks based on what I'm working on. And this morning, when I looked at my calendar, I said to myself, am I just being busy? Or is what I'm doing producing kingdom impact? What am I doing? Is it producing kingdom impact? And I can honestly say 60%, maybe more, is kingdom work. Is either the publishing, is now the real estate is added, ministry, or the boost pad. At some point down the road, something is going to have to give. I don't know what yet, right? So I can have more time to myself. The beautiful thing about how I make my schedule is that my weekends are very open. Friday afternoon, Saturday and Sunday, I get to manipulate, well, not manipulate, I get to be a little bit more flexible. But I really had to think about it. Am I being productive, right? The second point I want to make is fruit that remains is built with intentional systems, which is so amazing because I thought it was in week 3 when we talked about business. One of the things I said about business is that we have to put systems and standards in place for every business. Systems and standards, right? And it has to be intentional. So whether you have a career, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are in ministry, whatever you're doing, right? Business owner, life owner, right? There has to be some type of system in place. Standards operating procedure. If you leave your job or if you leave your business or if you leave your entrepreneurship journey, can someone come in and sit in your seat and run your operation daily? Like, is there a SOP in place for every aspect of what you do? And if you don't do that, then you don't have intentional systems, right? So what are the intentional systems that you have in place where things go on without you, right? And it's the same thing, like even how we bear fruit is intentional. Even if you take nature, for example, let's talk about the apple, because every time I hear about the fruit tree, I think about apples and I think about an orchard, right? But even the tree itself has a system. Because if the seed gets into the ground, the seed is watered. If the seed receives sunlight, photosynthesis, all of those things, right, is going to allow the seed to break apart under the ground, for roots to start form, for the seedling to pop up above the ground, and for the seedling to start to go into a young tree, to a bigger tree, to a more mature tree, until the fruits start to bear, right? And then you've got tons of apple falling on the ground for the consumption of who the apple is supposed to feed, right? And as the apple falls on the ground, and get this, when the apple falls on the ground, if nobody picks it up and it rots, it rots away, it turns into seed, the rainfall, the sunshine, the seeds start to come up again. So now you have multiple trees that will, give you multiple fruits, a orchard, and the harvest comes when those apples bear. So I know I went around in a circle, but I wanted to show you that even in nature, there is a process. Even in nature, there is a system, right? The trees aren't human, animals aren't human, but there is a process to even the animals being able to reproduce. There is a system and a process in all of that. The breakdown of the nature's system and process is the humans. We the one that breaks it down. We the one that mess it up. We the one that do opposite of what God told us to do from the beginning, right? So lasting fruit requires a structure, not just inspiration. I can't inspire a seed to grow if if I don't do something with a seed, right? I can't, it can't grow. I can't go anywhere, right? Real fruit needs to be planted, just like I said, which is the vision, watered, which is the discipline, steward, which is the how you take care of it, and then pruned for the refinement, right? So again, there's that system, there is that process, there is that thing that we have to put in place to see it from seed to orchard. And it's the same thing with us. Like in today's world, this means we've got to document our process. We've got to build a team. We've got to secure all the things we need to secure. And then just how the apple becomes the orchard where people feed from it, our responsibility for the end result is teaching others what we have learned and what we have accomplished and what we have done, right? And it all goes back to leaving a legacy. So it is just the natural order of how things are supposed to happen. And even when I'm talking about trees and business and real estate and writing and mindset, it all goes back to a system, is knowing who you are, knowing what your purpose to do, knowing that you have to take an action, and recognizing what systems, what steps I need to put in place for me to reach my end goal, for me to be productive, for me to leave a legacy, for me to transfer what I know to others, right? So the second declaration for this point number 2 is I create with legacy in mind and systems that sustain the vision. There has to be system in place. Point number 3, legacy isn't just what you do, it's what reproduces after you. Now, if that is not a preaching word or a writer downer or a hallelujah shout, I don't know what is. Because legacy isn't just what you do, it's what reproduces after you. And that's what this whole month has been. How are you positioning yourself to leave something that can be replicated after you? You see, what are you leaving that can be replicated after you, right? Fruit that remains means that we have built continues, that what we've built, fruit that remains, means that what we have built continues to bless, continues to teach, continues to inspire, continues to grow even after we are gone. Even after we are gone. And I'll look at, let's just take KFC, for example, right? I'm just flowing with what the Holy Spirit is telling me right now. Let's take KFC, for example. The Colonel, it wasn't until he was 68 years old before somebody said, hey, let's use your recipe and make something out of it. And this is after like 100 and something time of pitching his recipe. Nobody would take it, right? And today his legacy remains. Today we still talk about the Colonel. Today we still talk about KFCs all over the world, because what he built, and it's the same recipe for his chicken. So what he built, what he created has outlasted him, right? His legacy will go on for generations and generations to come, because it's not stopping, right? But what he built reproduces after him. That's legacy. It's not just what you do. It's what reproduces after you, right? It's that model that somebody can use. Elder Lexi said, that's good. Legacy isn't just what you do. It's what reproduces after you. Yeah, absolutely. Fruit that remains means what you have built continues to bless, right? And I want you to ask yourself this question. What have I built that someone can eat from? What have I built that someone can learn from? What have I built that someone can grow from? And what have I built that someone can pass on? What have I built that someone can eat from? What have I built that someone can learn from? What have I built that someone can grow from? And what have I built that I can pass on, or someone else can pass on? And the declaration for point number 3 is, I was chosen to multiply, to mentor, and to leave a lasting impact. That's why we're here. That is exactly why we're here. That is why we have the breath in our body. That is why we have, life in our limbs. That is why we can do what we can do. We never just came to be just born, grow up, go to college, get a job, retire, and then leave. We're purposed to use our stories, to use our gifts, to use our skills, to use what we have learned to empower and inspire and impact others and leave something that can be replicated after we leave Earth, right? And so this morning, the journal prompt is, what area of my life or work is producing fruit that won't spoil or fade? That's a big one to think about. What area of my life or work is producing fruit that won't spoil or fade? And then here's the second part to that. What can I prune? What can I strengthen? What can I multiply so it continues without me? I think about those things all the time. I do. I have 4 grandchildren, and I think about, what will they say when I'm no longer here? What is going to be left? What is it that they're going to carry on? We just made a decision as a family that we're going to start to have weekly calls, right? Weekly calls with, my sister and I, my brother, our children, their children. And we just want to do this family thing so that we can speak to what we're doing, what is happening. So even the children can participate, right? The grandchildren, we want to hear what they have to say. We want to hear them say what they want to be when they grow up. We want to hear them say, this is what I know. This is what I feel. This is how I feel, right? And for a lot of family do this all the time. We were never raised this way, but we recognize, my sister and I, that this is something that we have to do, because this is where legacy start. You may have to be the one to start your legacy. You may have to be the one to make the difference. You may have to be the one that carries the light in your family, right? If it's never been done before. God has given you that responsibility. So, you can do that. But think about those two questions as your journal prompt. Listen, that is all I have today. Tomorrow, I'll be with you with a special guest. Tomorrow, we are going to wrap it up and close it out. This summer series of legacy building for believers. And so I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I'll be here with my special guest. We will close out the month of July. My God, Friday is the 8th month. Friday is August. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? By the time you turn around, it's December again. All right. Well, God bless you. Thank you for being here with me this morning. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.